so excited for you to see this summit session where I'm going to talk to you about how you can create a batch system for your business. It's one of my favorite things to talk about because it's not about doing more. It's about doing more efficiently so that you're not wasting time. Here's the thing. Often people will ask me, is there a difference between the phrase mompreneur? It triggers some people that don't like it. And I'm like, you know what? It's not so much about the phrase, like I am a mom entrepreneur, but it is different to run your business as a busy mom. And we need efficient systems to be able to do so. Now, I'm going to talk to you about them today. We're going to go behind the scenes and going to go flick back and forth for some tabs because I'm going to show you live and in action how I do this. You will get access to the Trello board that I've created for today. Trello is one of the tools that I use. It's not all of them, but it's my main one. And I've made you a template as a freebie for this session. So don't worry about that. You'll be able to grab that. A few things we're going to talk about in this session. We're going to create a batch system for your business. We're going to talk about how to systematize your tasks so you know what to work on when, mapping a content plan, time blocking, and delegation. So we're going to cover a lot in this system. Again, this is a high-level overview, but it is very action-packed. So please take some notes. I talk a little fast, but I'm going to make sure that by the end of this, you have left knowing how to create this batch system, and hopefully you've gotten a little bit of work done too. My name is Kara Harvey. I am actually running this event, and I am the founder of A Purpose-Driven Mom. I was a school teacher for 8 years, and I absolutely loved it. I adored it, and I burnt myself out. After my 7th year of teaching high school special education, I thought that I knew what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, but I had lost myself along the way. I was crying on the way into work. I felt drained. I felt just done, honestly. And I remember coming home and saying to my husband, who's my fiance at the time, and he's an educator and a principal, and he understands what I was doing. And he said, if you want to do something different, this is the money we need to make. So the school that I worked at, it was a high-performance charter school. And what that meant was the kids went to school 8 to 5 every other Saturday. And every other Saturday. So I was there 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. most days. I went in on Sundays to make my copies so I didn't have to do it during the week. I had always equated success with burnout. I thought if I was the last one there, then I was the most successful. But I quickly learned that that is not the truth. So that day I came home and I said to my husband, I think it's time. I realized that I was going to have to find something that worked for me. At the time, I was dabbling in network marketing. It was a hobby. I was successful with a product, and I had lost 70 pounds with this product. And I was helping other women do the same. And I thought to my husband, what if I just make this a thing? What if I work at it full time? So during that final year, I worked both jobs pretty much full time. I was so burnt out. I was also planning my wedding during this entire thing. Looking back, I don't know how I actually did it. At the time, we only had my stepson, who was 7, so I guess 1 kid versus 3 now makes it a big difference. And I worked hard. I hustled, and I don't love the word hustle, but that is what I did. After that year, I was able to replace my teaching income with my network marketing income, and I left teaching to become a full-time entrepreneur. And I thought I had it figured out. I was living the dream, all this time freedom, all these things they said I was going to have. But instead, I was back to the grind. I was back to working 40 hours a week. I was back to working every single minute of every single day. And I realized that something had to give. After 2.5 years of working full-time in entrepreneurship as a network marketer, I had grown a 6-figure business. I loved what I did, but I felt God tug me. I felt him say, maybe we can do something different. Maybe there's a different way that you can impact moms. And so when my now 3-year-old was 3 weeks old, I think, I sat with a boppy pillow nursing him at 2 in the morning, and I made a website. And A Purpose-Driven Mom was born. That first year, it was a mess, and depending on how long you've been in business, you probably can relate to that. I didn't know what I was doing, who I was talking to, what my purpose was, what I was supposed to actually be doing, and I just rolled with it. But I remember that moment I sold my first $17 ebook. The first transaction I had, before I even had my website set up, it literally someone sent it to me on PayPal, and I delivered it in my Gmail. And I thought, whoa, I get to help someone. How cool is this? Over the past 3 years, I have then grown a purpose-driven mom, and I have figured out who I help and how I help them best. I know that I can help overwhelmed moms and mompreneurs get organized and create systems to manage their time, take action on their God-driven goals so that they can live their life of abundance. I do this in my membership. I do this in courses, at speaking events, on my podcast. And I finally have found that productivity is a place where I can feel super aligned with my passions, also making an income, and have been able to just grow this business into a place that feels super joyful and super aligned. But it never meant to be that way. I knew, though, that if I had not created systems to put it all together, I would burn out again. And I did not want to burn out with a purpose-driven mom. I want this to be my till the end. I want this to be my business. And I knew that systems like batching were going to get me there. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I want to ask you a question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how efficient would you say you are right now with managing your time and your business? Write it down. Think about it. Do you find yourself wasting time when you get to work? All of a sudden it's nap time, and then you've got to run and do the dishes and the laundry, and you finally sit down to work and you forget what you're supposed to be working on? Has that ever happened to you? Or you go into your email because you know you want to write some newsletters for the week and you can't find the links. So then you waste 20 minutes trying to find the correct links so that everything is kind of all in one spot. I've been there as well. A batch system that we're going to talk about today helps you keep things in order. And goodness, I wish I had had these systems from the start. I wish I had had them together in a business from the beginning so that I didn't waste as much time as I do trying to search Canva to find the image that I knew I saved, but it was called Untitled Design. I mean, hand up, right? You can relate with that. So let's talk about the pillars of batching. First, we have to categorize our tasks. Second, we have to pre-map out the content plans, create time blocks for our work, and then finally, you pre-plan out your work. So this is what we're going to cover today in a batching system. The concept of batching, a lot of people get, but they don't always fully understand. And batching is essentially grouping tasks together so that your brain doesn't have to toggle back and forth, all right? There are two different ways you can batch. You can batch things by task, like every email I'm going to write for the month. So every email for my podcast, for my newsletter, for my sales, or whatever I'm doing, I would write them all at the same time. Or you can do it by content pillar. On Thursdays, I do all my podcast work. On Fridays, I do all my social media work. On Mondays, I do all my blog work. I do a hybrid of this. So I'll show you my actual days, but I do a mix of this where I have one day a week where I'm just writing emails. And the reason I keep emails together is because my brain just works in a good constant state of flow when I'm writing my emails. You got to know yourself, right? So if I need to write emails, I will make a list, I'm going to show you in a second, of all the emails I need to write for the whole week, 2 weeks, month even. My goal is always to end the month with everything done for the next month. Full transparency, I've maybe actually done that twice, but I always start the week with the current week done. That is a non-negotiable in my business. I don't want to sit on Monday and have to write an email that has to go out on Tuesday. I always do it the week before so that I can put out the fires in my business as they happen. So pillar number 1, I want you to create a list of everything that you do for that type of task, okay? And I mean everything. So here's an example of what I could mean by that. If you write a blog, there's a lot of tasks that go into writing a blog. You would have to do your SEO research, which for me, when I do SEO research, that has 5 tasks underneath it, right? You have to create an outline and make your headings. You've got to make images, find the affiliates. You've got to write the paragraphs. You've got to edit. You've got to format, write social media, make it an email. You've got to promote. There's all these little steps. When you sit down and you're like, oh, I have a blog post I want to write this week. I'm just going to work on the blog post. And you don't batch smart. You waste a lot of time. So my recommendation is you batch in 4 to 12 week chunks. So you make your content plan, for example, for your blog post. And when you sit down, you do SEO research. You do it for all 4 posts because you know your topics. This way you pull up your Google Search Console. You pull up Uber Suggest. You pull up Pinterest. You pull up all the tools you use, right? And you do it at the same time instead of every single time you write a blog post, open the tab, close the tab, open the tab, close the tab. You waste time. Your brain doesn't want to do that. It is not efficient. Another way that you could do that is kind of categorizing those batches. So I'm going to show you this actually in Trello now. If you're a Trello newbie, no worries. You can do this on pen and paper. You can do this in Google Drive. I personally do this type of brain dumping in Trello. I've got a few systems that I use that are like my trifecta: Trello, ClickUp, and Airtable. Trello is the one I use for my planning, okay? So here's a Trello board. I'm going to give you this template. You can go up here where it says Create Board from Template, and then you will be able to make a copy of it and type in it. If you don't want to keep any of the stuff that I've already done for you, when it says to do that, I'll just show you real quick. You can delete the lists, okay? Here's the basics. First up, you're going to go through and you're going to brain dump. So let's look at these 3 examples. I've got 4 for you actually. So blog flow. Here I've gone through and I wrote everything down I need to do for a blog. And so you're going to get this template and I've done half the work for you. You're welcome. So you can just take this and add in things that you specifically do. All right. Step 2, podcast flow. So for my podcast, what are all the tasks I need to do for my podcast? A content plan, outline, record, images, make the wave videos, social media, right? And I've gone through and I make a huge list of every single task. Then I did one for social media as well. So here's another example. Instagram images, captions, researching hashtag, engagements. Now I don't want you to get overwhelmed. I don't want you to be like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to be able to have a successful business because I have to do all the things. You need to know what has to get done so you can manage your time and delegate wisely, okay? Get the brain dump out there. I've also made you a list here for like videos or images maybe you need to make, Facebook Lives. If you're doing YouTube, you can even like maybe have one whole list. And if you want to create any extra lists, you just scroll all the way to the end. You can hit lists here. And you can just make your list for YouTube or whatever it is. I also started like emails, but there are a couple other lists you can make. If you've got admin tasks, if you've just got content creation, videos or whatever, here's YouTube already, research you want to do. If you do stuff on Twitter, you could have coaching workflows and pipelines. Shipping, if you have a physical business. This is the start of making your SOPs, your standard operating procedures. Because if you don't know all the things that you're doing, you will never be able to take them, put them into like a handbook for your business, delegate them out. Stop keeping everything in your head and put it out here on paper. Okay, sorry, that keeps popping up. Okay, so the first step, I want you to go through and I want you to finish this. So you can pause this video if you want. You can go back to this later. If you have your All Access Pass, you'll have unlimited time to watch this video and do it workshop style, which is the way I prefer to teach, where you can pause, work, and come back. If not, you will have to make sure you get it in that first 24 hours. Okay, so step 2, we've categorized our batches. The next thing I'm going to ask you to do is a time inventory. Now, you might have said, Kara, why didn't you ask me to do the time inventory before my batches? Because I want you to go ahead and I want you to think through your business first. I want you to think through the steps, and then I want you to go and create a time inventory. I have a super simple one that I use. It just has like, what's the task, how much time it takes me. I'm not charting like 10:05 to 10:25. I just tell my phone and I just say start stopwatch, and then I stop the stopwatch, and then I write it down. And I want you to time out all of the steps, okay? So if making images for your Pinterest pins takes you an hour, you're going to write down an hour. I want to also recommend maybe you make like a notes column where you go ahead and you write in there, I feel like I wasted time opening Canva, trying to find this image. I could have done this more efficiently. You could do this on paper, or what you could even do is while you're doing your blog post, for example, you could open up the images card and you can just type it right in here. There is a Trello Power Up. I can't remember what it's called. I just got it where it will take the time for you. If I find it, when I go to the Q&A in the group after my session, I will share it with you. I'm going to remember to do that, because what it does is it goes here and you can just hit the button and then it will start a timer for you, and then you can stop it when you're done and it'll kind of track your work task. I just can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. So just so you know that that's in there. So you're going to make a time inventory. And this is going to allow you to not only see where you're wasting time or how much time you'll need to block, but this will also help you figure out what you're going to need to delegate when it comes to it, all right? It will help you group things together, see if there's things you can do in your zone of genius. For example, images are something I batch together. I currently outsource those, but when I wasn't, I would, because I don't want to open Canva a million times. I use Ivory Mix for my stock photos. I don't want to go to Ivory Mix and search and then go to Canva and then make the pin, then download the pin, put it on Pinterest. Oh, gotta go back to Ivory Mix. I don't want to do any of that. So you can kind of put it all together, all right? And then it allows you to think about how long something would take. So that's the next step, is you go in and you add in your estimated or your current times. You can see some examples here where I put like 45 minutes, 30 to 60 minutes. If you don't know, start with an estimated time. I always think this is interesting and fun to do. You start with how much time you think it's going to take, then you do your time inventory, and when you come back to it, you can see were you over or underestimating it. And I really like data, so that helps me a lot. Okay, so the other thing that allows you to do is delegate. I know this is hard to hear sometimes, but you do not have to be the person doing everything in your business. I'm going to tell you something. This time last year, now my business it will be 3 years old next month, and last year was the first time, last November, I hired someone. I waited 2 years to hire anyone. So I understand. You go through these limiting beliefs. I don't deserve it. I'm not making enough money to do this. Who am I going to hire? How am I going to hire out? And now our team has grown where we have 3 part-time members that work in their own roles on the team, and between, I want to say 6 freelancers that do things for us for projects. And it is amazing how much my business has grown because I've gotten out of my own way and allowed other people to help me. So you can delegate things that you don't enjoy or you're not good at, things that take forever to do. Like for me, making sales pages take me so long because I'm not great at it. And I just finally 3 years in, hired it out because I can't do it all anymore. I also have some tasks that I will use to procrastinate. So I have a friend of mine who loves to make images. And when she doesn't feel like doing other work, she makes images. And you know your tasks. So whatever those are. It doesn't have to be expensive. I have high school kids who work for me from church. You can find interns. Onlinejobs.ph is a great place to find virtual assistants, local moms in your area. My kid works for me. My kid is going to be 14 in a month, and I've had him go through and download stock photos, put them in folders on the drive for me. Hire them. Don't feel like asking for help means that you are a failure. It means that you're a CEO, okay? And here's the thing. You don't have to delegate anything right now. But what I want you to do is I want you to start to figure out what you can delegate. So here's how I do it in Trello. Again, you can do this in any system. These little things here, these are called labels. If you click on any sort of card, you can fix them on up. So this is where I have labels, and I just put can delegate. So what I do is I go through my time inventory, I see what takes the most time, and then I think, which of these things can I delegate? Which of these things do I not have to be doing myself? And look, this is my podcast list. Look at all of these things. So I currently have a podcast manager, but my first step was, what do I have to do? And honestly, the only things I do for my podcast is I make my content plan, and I currently do it with my podcast manager. I outline the interview questions because I like to really know who I'm talking about. I record the episodes, the reviews of the week, or any mid-rolls, and that is it. Everything else goes into a drive and goes to the team. Again, if you don't have a team, I want you to still go through and I want you to label things, okay? I want you to go through and edit the labels for what you can delegate. This will be your wish list, eventually what you can hire out. And then when you start to batch it all together, you can see, hey, I can hire one person to do all my images. What are all the images I need? The biggest struggle I had when I started hiring was I had all my processes up in my head. I didn't know what I wanted to hire or how I did it or how much time it took. By me doing these things, by me seeing how much time it took, one, I realized what my hourly rate was and that I was I was doing this for nothing. So I was like, oh no, we got to fix that. But it also allowed me to know when someone said, okay, how long do you think this task would take so I could pay them? I already had an idea. The other thing that you can start doing is creating videos of yourself actually going ahead and doing the thing. So if you're still making your images for your podcast episodes, I want you to go and use QuickTime. If you're on a Mac, you could use Loom, Loom. You just really record yourself doing it. Record it now. This doesn't have to be the final time you do it, but if you do have a process in your business that you do every week, record it so that when it is time to hire out, you can just hand them the loom. You can fix it up for them later. They can streamline it, but it'll save you a lot of time that way. Okay, so you've gone in, you've created your labels for what you can hire out. That is how you start with figuring out your tasks. There's a second piece of time blocking, and that's content planning, batching, okay? Content planning is so important in your business. Oh my goodness, it's so important. It lets you focus in on something. It lets you fill in the gaps of what you're doing, and it allows you to get ahead. I had mentioned if I'm going to sit down and do SEO for a blog post, I'm going to do it for the next month to 12 weeks at one time. I'm like, all right, I got an hour. Let me just bang all this out so I don't have to go back to it. I want that for you too. It's efficient and it's a great way to look ahead. All right. So how do you content plan? This is actually a screenshot of my content plan that I have in Drive. I'm going to show you a blank one in a second. The system that I use allows me to make themes for my week so that everything fits in, and you can read and see kind of some of my themes, and they all connect with a product launch. So this was for March, the Grow Your Business bundle that I promoted. I was an affiliate for it. So my theme was work at home mom routines. My podcast episode was with a work-at-home mom. My blog post was about that. Time management in a live video. It all connected, all right? For these, I didn't have anything I was promoting. So I was like, let me just find an affiliate that fits. I did a webinar here. I did a flash sale here. Everything fits in. This is your launch runway. And you are going to want to go through and create this content batch for the next month, the next 12 weeks, all at once. So here are some tips for batching a content plan. You're going to work horizontally, not vertically, and I'm going to show you that. You're also going to want to create 20-minute pockets about 4 to 6 weeks in advance to map them. So when I'm recording this now, it's just about to hit September. So it's the end of August right now, which means that Q4 starts in October. So I have about 5 weeks until Q4 starts. I am 80% done with my content plan for Q4. I just have to add in some social media ideas. I start this so far in advance so that it doesn't creep up on me, so that it doesn't take a really long time, and so that I can really just sit and take my time with it. So 6 weeks out, I start with what am I launching? And I do that column. 5 weeks out, then I move into what are my live videos? 4 weeks out, what are my podcast topics? 3 weeks out, I'm doing email newsletters. 2 weeks out, my social media. You see? And I start to just fill it in. So it doesn't take that long. Looking at this one here, like that looks like, whoa, okay, that's a lot. And staring at a blank screen looks a little more intimidating as well. So when you do it this way, you're setting yourself up to give enough time to get it done, but not enough time to feel rushed, okay? And then what you want to start doing is create time to actually do the content. So I will write out my social media posts for the next month, the third week of the month. So the third week of every month, I write out next month's social media posts, next month's Facebook group posts, okay? The second week of every month, I write out next week's newsletter emails. Next month's newsletter emails. I get ahead, all right? So let's look at one all together. This is just literally in Google Drive. It's not even fancy. But this is an example of what you can do with it. Okay, this is what I do. If you don't have a podcast, I don't write blog posts anymore because my content pillar is a podcast. You can mix it up. Maybe you do blog posts on Sundays, whatever. So on Mondays, I do a Facebook Live. Tuesdays, I do a newsletter. Wednesdays, I do like a value social media post, which is maybe like a teaching or giving. Thursdays, my podcast episode airs. Friday, I do a personal social media post connected to my theme. I do another value post on Saturdays, and that might be sharing a blog post that I've already written, like why do we write content once and never use it again? It's so silly. So I'll share an old blog post. And then Sundays is another personal one. Okay. So step one when we're doing this is you're going to go ahead and you're going to fill out your promotion. So if you know you're launching, so I actually know this week here I'm launching a beta course for my systems from the start. So that's what I would type here, beta systems from the start. Okay. So that I know. Maybe you're promoting a summit you're speaking at. Maybe you've got a course coming out. Maybe you've got another affiliate thing happening. Maybe there's like your Black Friday sale or whatever it is. Go and put your promos in so then you can create your weekly themes. So if this is mine, which is about systems for mompreneurs, like this batching, well, then my weekly theme is going to be systems for mompreneurs, right? We're going to put all that in. You could have a course that's on cleaning, and each week could have a different theme. In the beginning, I talked about working vertically and not horizontally. This is what I mean. You're going to fill out this whole column first. That's the vertical. Do not work this way. Not that way. Do not work this way. When you work this way, it's not as easy to fill in. But if I go ahead and I fill all this in, it's very easy for me to just do this. It's very easy for me to just go down like this and think of Facebook Live topics or newsletter topics. So just put on a 15-minute timer. Again, give yourself 4 to 6 weeks beforehand and go write down your content plan. Once you have your content plan, then you can figure out how to batch to get it done. So you're going to need to batch a couple things. One, you're going to batch out creating the content plan. Again, let's look at this completed one. So I batched out all of my promos. Then I took 15 minutes. What freebies go best with that? Okay, what's my theme? Hey, what do I want my Facebook Live topics, right? So you batch them all out this way. My newsletter topics, my posts, you can see here I've linked to blog posts that I'm going to talk about, episodes for the podcast, all right? Then you've got to batch out when you're going to do it, okay? So let's talk about that. You want to pre-assign your content plan. So I've kind of got this in Trello under this first column. Come with me. All right, so this is when you pre-assign kind of your content plan. Week 1, I'm going to batch my podcast stuff out, all right? But maybe I'm only doing a couple things for the podcast. So maybe weeks 1 and 2, I batch out next month's podcast, right? That's all my interviews, emails, whatever I have to write. Weeks 3, I work on all social media that week. That's my batch. Weeks, 4 could be images, but then I also have to move these. So decide. What will you be working on? So, like I said, week 2 of the month, I like to batch out emails. So I'm just going to drag this up here for the next month. All right. Week 4 of the month, actually, so we'll just move it up here a little. That's when I do all my admin for the next month. Income and analytics, things like that. Week 1 might be when I do creation. Creation could look like outlines or videos. I will always batch all my videos the same week. And we do this with the podcast. We currently have, so quarter 3 does not end for another 5 weeks, and the podcast is done. It is 100% done for the next 5 weeks. So I actually will spend 2 to 3, I typically spend like 1 whole month, and I just record. Sometimes it's less than a month, maybe it's 2 to 3 weeks, depending on my schedule. And I get interviews in with people. So my goal is that by the end of September, mid-October at the latest, every podcast episode is recorded for the rest of the year, the rest of the quarter. This way, I can work on all the other stuff. This way, I can work on the launch and serving my people and doing all those things. All right, so you're going to go through and you're going to say, what week am I going to work on what things? And in the beginning, let me tell you, if you've never created a system like this, you're like, Kara, I can't even get a day ahead. How am I going to get a month ahead? Baby steps, friend. Baby steps. You don't have to get a month ahead. Just try to get a week ahead, okay? Just look at your next week and see how you can be strategic. And then honestly, if you could do it 2 days at a time to start or 3 days at a time, grow that. All right, so after you've gone ahead and you've batched out when you're going to work on stuff, you're going to want to make some time blocks so that you can chunk out your day, especially now working, managing your home, there's a lot going on. You're going to want to group your like-minded tasks together and then think about your ideal time blocks that you can work in. So if I'm writing, I need quiet. Like I can't do that when my kids are around. If I'm recording, I need quiet. Whereas I can make images or answer emails with my kids running around. I actually have a list on the side of my planner and it's called Things I Can Do with My Kids Around. And it helps me maximize the moments when I don't know, my kids are playing in the backyard. I don't need to be playing with them, but maybe I can make some Pinterest images or whatever. And then if they need me to break up a fight, get a snack, take them to the potty, I'm not, I have to stop my workflow. And you know what I'm talking about. So don't act like I'm the only one who does it, right? But if I have to open the Play-Doh or fix the puzzle piece or kiss the scraped knee, I don't mind stopping my work because I'm not in a flow state. But you got to be flexible with yourself. And with your time blocks. So what I'm going to show you is in Trello again, but you can use any system. But just ask yourself, when do I have the largest amount of time to work? What is my most creative task? What tasks do I need quiet time for? And what can I do with my kids around? So let's look at a couple of these time blocks. So in this template, where did I put my time blocks? Okay, there. So it is under the second one, time block schedules. So I've done a couple things. First is these are some things I do every day, right? And again, not me, but maybe someone on the team. Manual pinning, adding new pins to Pinterest, checking in with Facebook groups, answering my DMs. This is essentially my daily tasks. These are things I can do with my kids around. Okay, so you're going to put them up here. And then you're going to go down here where it says time blocks, all right? So each day looks a little bit different because that's the nature of our job and our life. And so what you can do here is under each card, I've split up the time blocks. Now these are customizable. You just click in here and you can type, this is my time blocks. This is how I block my days, but you can add them to whatever you want. And so then after you've gone through and you've figured out what you have to do, I want you to go in, add your time blocks for each day. And again, some of them might be like, for me, this is a personal time block. This isn't a work time block. My kids are at camp right now, school. So they're here at school. This is my work block. So for me, from 4 to 8, that's mommy time. Like I'm not working from 4 to 8. And so in there, I'm not going to put work tasks. I can put personal tasks if I wanted to, but I'm going to like maybe just leave that one blank. But here, I'll fill them up. So you just go in and you just might type like, on Mondays, I batch my emails. So from 9 to 12, that's when I'm going to work on newsletters. And I'm also going to work on podcast promo emails. And I'm going to work on any upcoming sales emails. And there's my batch, right? This is what my goal is for Mondays. I've predetermined what I'm going to figure out and what I'm going to do. And then maybe in the afternoon, I take like a 15-minute lunch break. And then I switch gears a little bit. And then typically Mondays I film. And so that's when I do any filming for the week. And I will just, because I don't feel like doing my hair and my makeup a lot, I'll just film it all at once. Okay, so you're going to go into the cards or paper or however you choose to organize it. And you're going to start with those time blocks, okay? And then you've got this set up for you. All right, the final pillar is the pre-planning of your tasks. So if you've done everything else, you've got a good sense of like what you need to do to get ahead. And when you pre-plan, you give yourself urgency, but it also is so key in eliminating procrastination because you just can get to work. How many times have you sat down to get to work and you wasted more time trying to remember what you needed to do next? Just get to work. So I'm going to show you how we pre-plan. Again, I use the Trello card. My entire batch is just in Trello. It's my workflows. And that's where I map it out. Now, we do move the tasks to ClickUp when it comes for other people on the team using it because we have just found ClickUp to be more intuitive for team workflows, but this is where we break it all down. So think, what needs to get done this month? What's my focus for the week? And what have I actually completed? And so inside the cards here, these are your tasks, right? And what you could also do is, hold on. Let's go into this one. I've made a card that says that. So these are 3 here. And what you could do is you can just add the items in. You know what? I'm going to pull up another Trello board while we're on here live. I didn't plan to, but I want to show you what mine looks like right now. I want to give you an example of how you can fill this out. So no judgment in my Trello friends, because I didn't plan on showing you. I'm showing you all this. So come on over here. All right, so these are all my goals and everything mapped out. All right, here we go. Okay, so here's Monday. This is my August card. So what I did at the beginning of, at the end of July, before August started, was I had all of these things down here in this big list. This is everything that needs to get completed this month. So every single task you see here was originally down here on this bottom. Then on Saturdays, I plan out the next week. Sometimes I close out the week Friday this way. Sometimes it happens Saturday. And then I drag it on up, what my focus is for this week. All right. Then I will take anything that I actually completed, like this is what I worked on this week, and I move it here. All right. So then it allows me to focus in. I've already, and I did finish that one. I finished that one. So I'll move these. So it's very exciting because it allows me to see what I've done. It allows me to feel really dang accomplished. Like, you ever get to the end of the week and you're like, Kara, maybe you wouldn't say that, but you'd say, name, I didn't do anything. Well, you know what I did this month? It could have been a hard month. I could have struggled. What the? Look at all these tasks. You go, girl. And sometimes we need that. So now, if this was the end of the week, I've moved everything that got completed. I saw the things that didn't happen, right? And I'm like, all right, these are my priority for next week. What else has to get done? And well, this is actually, we're in the last week of the month. So then I'm going to essentially drag all these up here and I know what I have to do. And so that's what you'll actually do on each of these cards. Go into your content pillar and do those. Okay, take a breath. Me too. We talked a lot today about how to start a batching schedule in a system. And I know it was jam-packed, but I hope it was valuable. I hope that you were like, I get it. I see what I have to do and I can do it. So this is what I want to encourage you to do. Create a time inventory. Add in your tasks, create a content plan, and start to batch. Don't feel like you have to create this system overnight. Take 15 minutes a day to just start to work on this. And by the end of a few weeks, by the end of even a month, because you'll probably want to do it for a full month to really see every task, you will know all the operating procedures in your business. You will be able to maximize your time, and heck, you will hopefully be able to even start delegating them out so that you can find more time for what you want to get done. I hope this was helpful today. I'm going to be over in the group doing a Q&A, so if you have a lot of notes for me, come meet me there because I want to show you how you can make this work inside of your business. I hope that this session was helpful, and I will see you over in the group.